Happy day. Hi, it is I, Kayla, here with Big Sis Sesh. Freaking welcome. How you doing today? I'm doing astronomically better than I was a week ago. I am a happy little bean. I hope you're a happy little bean too. Today we're going to be talking about how to confidently ask for what you want. Period. That can be a pretty difficult thing for a lot of us. I think especially women, we're like, actually, maybe can I just, and then when we don't get what we want, we're like, it's fine. And it's not fine. We deserve the shit that we want. Period. So let's crack into it. In order to start to be confident and ask for what you want, first of all, the start of it is going to be faking it till you make it. You're not just going to like read a book and be like, bitch, I have confidence now. It's going to start by faking confident behavior. But what you're going to have to do first is before you can kind of go on into your life and be confident for future endeavors, you kind of need to mitigate what's going on in your life currently and work on those situations first. So if there is someone in your life that you know has been crossing boundaries, or if you're one of those people who like will order a coffee and they get it wrong and you don't ask for them to change it, things like that, we need to start with things in your current life. Because a lot of self-confidence and being able to ask for what you want confidently, a lot of that comes from actively not self betraying yourself. We develop self confidence by being able to trust ourselves and trust trust that we will do and provide for ourselves. And when we don't do that, our body feels unsafe and we're not going to have self confidence. Also, feeling good in your skin is another aspect of it, but for the sake of brevity, we're going to kind of more delve into that aspect of don't betray yourself by overextending yourself, by letting people walk all over you, by not setting boundaries. Start by, creating those boundaries for yourself so you can thrive and you can be healthy. And yeah. So let's say that you're somebody who I was this person. When somebody got my food order wrong or my coffee order wrong, I would just be like, oh, it's fine. They're probably so busy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm also a server. And that was part of where that guilt of like, I don't want to bother them came in hand. But if you're paying for something, like, it's one thing if it's something small, like, if, like, I don't know, if it's something super minor, then I'm kind of in the same then I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. But if you like, I remember this one time specifically, I ordered one salad and I got a completely different salad and it was ass. Like, it was 100% different from the one that I ordered. And like, I was with my family and they were like, Kayla, like, didn't you get blah, 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 blah? And I was like, yeah, but it's fine. Like, I don't want to bother them. And they were like, no, like, we paid for this. And the other salad was like, the salad I ordered and my parents paid for was like a $20 salad, and the one I got was like a $10 side salad, and it was boof. And so, they were like, no, like, go ask for, like, tell them. And my parents ended up telling them because I was like so painfully just, no, 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 like, I don't want to cause any inconvenience. And it's not an inconvenience. Whatever. So that's the example I'll use. Starting with something like that, like if you get a coffee at Starbucks and they mess it up, like, ask for a remake. You like, that's what you wanted. That will start that's a small way that you can build trust within yourself and then confidence. Um Talking more grander scale, or let's see. So that's a small scale version. Something more in the middle is like let's say you and your friends are planning a trip and nobody is really taking the bait for being the one to drive. And I'll use this example because I asked for what I wanted in this example, but let's say you didn't. So my car has been fucking up lately, and there was a point where it was breaking down all the time, and I was like, I can't be the one to drive. Like, I want to minimize driving as much as I possibly can because I can't afford a, 2 grand car bill right now. So there was a trip that we had planned, and I had planned the whole trip. It wasn't super long. It was like, maybe 30 minutes away. It was a hiking thing. And my car started acting up again that morning. And I was like, you know what, guys, like, I'm really sorry. Can anybody else drive? I really can't. And in a previous situation, I know myself, I would have just molded over for like hours and been like, fuck, like, how do I ask them? How do I, express this thing? And like, that is a super valid reason to, like, ask for what you need, ask for what you want. That, like, don't self-betray. And like, because if I did drive, I would have been thinking about it the whole hike. I would have been like, fuck, like, what if my car doesn't start when we get back? Da 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 da. So that's another kind of thing. Like, if you and your friends are deciding where to eat and they're suggesting places that you really don't like, just be like, guys, I really don't want that. Like, I'd love to come to a consensus, but I really don't want to eat there. Same thing with your boyfriend. Like, ask for what you want. The heck. Um, and it doesn't have to be exactly what you want, but like, don't just let everybody else decide for you. Same thing with like going out with your friends, or, whatever. If someone asks to borrow a shirt of yours that you really like, it's an expensive shirt, and you're like, honestly, no, I'm sorry. Like, that was like $100 shirt, and I'm just like weird about that stuff. I'm just, whatever. People will be fine. But setting those like small boundaries with yourself, at first people might, give you a little like, what? Like, you're really not gonna let me borrow your shirt? It's like, yeah, sorry. I'm just weird about that stuff. Like, set those boundaries. It's If they don't respect them, then they don't respect you, and that's not a person that you want in your life. On a more grander scale, I recently had a guy that I was casually dating. We went on maybe 2 dates, and then started he suggested that the next time we hang out, it be a slumber party. And I was like, at first I was like, it was right after our second date, and I was feeling, super into him. And so I was like, okay, yeah, like, I'll see you Thursday for that slumber party. And then, I was sitting on it a few days. I was like, I really don't want to do that. That sounds like a lot. Like, this is gonna be the third time I've ever seen him. What the fuck? Like, no. And, in the past, I probably would have just gone because I wanted the guy to like me and I wanted to like maintain that relationship or whatever. But I texted him after a day of thinking about it. I was like, let me just see if I still feel this way. And then I did. So I texted him and I was like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable. I still really like you, but I don't feel comfortable like sleeping over as the third hangout. And he didn't answer me, ghosted me. This is literally, I texted him yesterday afternoon and he hasn't answered me back. So I'm like, honestly, whatever. If you don't respect that and if you don't understand that, that's on you, dude. Like, that's weird of you. Whatever. And honestly, I'm glad that he showed his colors like that beforehand. So, yeah, asking for what you want and starting to do those things might result in some negative circumstances, like maybe losing a friend or losing a guy that you were interested in, but that shows that they're not really people that you want to hang out with anyway. One technique for working through those kinds of situations when you're first starting to do them and you're like kind of freaking out a bit is to write the absolute worst case scenario, write the absolute best case scenario of what can happen, and like somewhere in the middle. And like kind of like rationalize to yourself, like, what are really the odds of this worst case thing happening, and am I going to like be absolutely devastated if this worst case thing happens? And then what are the odds that the best case scenario happens? Most of the time it's going to be somewhere in the middle, and it's not going to be as deep as you think it is. So for an example, with that guy, pretty much the worst case scenario happened. He fucking ghosted me. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, I guess the worst thing he could have done would have texted me something really mean and nasty. But really, at the end of the day, like, would that have affected me that much? No. Same thing with the coffee order. Like, if you're in your head and you're like, oh, I don't want to bother them, like, first of all, they're not going to tell you no. And then the best case scenario is they make you your brand new drink and they give you $50 on top of it. And the middle road is they fix your drink and that's it. Like, really thinking about these things, not letting your brain fly off the handle the way that it does in the moment is a great way to be like, okay, this really is not that big of a deal. Or like telling your friends the place that you want to eat. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, they're my friends. If they don't want to eat there, they'll say that, and then we'll come to some sort of agreement about somewhere else to eat. It doesn't have to be so deep. Just be like, this is what I want. Okay. And once you start working, okay, so I kind of am all over the place. I did not follow the format that I had laid out for myself. But basically, once you start like going through your life, doing those little things for yourself, like if someone's been walking over you for a while, like say like mom always like freaks out when you don't answer her call. And it's like you're an adult, you have jobs, you can't always answer. That's a serious conversation that you have to have with your mom in your current given situation to start to clean up the trash that's going on, clean up the trash or whatever. Clean up the situation that's among clean up the situation that you currently have. So starting with like friends, guys, advocating for yourself at the coffee shop, and like probably your family. Those are good places to start to draw those boundaries and be able to ask for things confidently. So that looks like sitting down with your mom or having that phone call and being like, Mom, I'm 26 years old. I love you to death, but I cannot answer the phone every time, and you need to not freak out. I'm not dead. I am a working adult, or I'm busy, or I'm taking a moment for myself to breathe. It doesn't mean that I'm dead, okay? And I need you to understand that. And if she can't understand that, then I'm sorry, Mom. I'm just going to keep ignoring you. And you're just going to have to worry that I'm dead. But most of the time, your mom will be like, she might freak out in the midst of it, but usually they'll come to their senses and be like, okay, fine, like whatever, or just come to a agreed upon time twice a week that you can catch up. So it's you know ask for what you need and want, ask it. But yeah, start in your current life situation. And then as you kind of practice with that, as it comes up in real time, it will be easier for you to advocate for yourself in the moment. Now, in terms of how to confidently ask for what you want, in those situations that I just described, it's probably not going to be the most confident you've ever been. But a few ways to literally sound more confident. One is to practice what you're going to say. I literally talk in my apartment all day, especially when I was going through job interviews. I would sit here and practice talking. I would just talk, 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 talk through all the questions. I wouldn't think them. Like thinking them is not the same as actually verbalizing it. So practice out loud if you're willing to. And feel free to record yourself and like listen back and see where you can improve upon. One thing that I like to listen for is filler words. Filler words, they kind of take away from your confidence. When you're asking for things with your family and friends, it's not something you necessarily have to really emphasize, but when you're in a job interview, or that's the only example I can think of right now, or like when you're trying to haggle someone for a car and like the price, negotiate price. I don't know how to talk right now. Avoid filler words, look them in the eye, have pretty much planned out what you're going to say, and be comfortable with silence. Just because someone is silent doesn't mean that they're rejecting you, and doesn't mean that you need to keep talking. It just means that, I don't know, maybe they need to think about something, or maybe they are trying to pressure you to cave in. But no, allow there to be silence. Say, ask for what you want and leave it there and let it marinate. And the way you ask for things is important too. There's always be respectful. Always start with I mean, not always, but like, just be respectful, but don't be like, if it isn't too much of a bother. Like, you're not a bother for existing, okay? You're not a bother for having preferences or whatever. And that kind of like that kind of implants in someone's brain that you are being a bother for asking for something. Like, don't set yourself up to be that. So we've spoke about, the situations in your life where you can start to improve as you start doing those things. Your current situation, when you have to ask for things you want, will become easier. as you practice. Um, and then you've got those few ways to actually sound confident. So even if you don't feel it with your chest, try to say what you mean with intention, with no apology afterwards, but or before, and minimize filler words. Make eye contact if you can. Just fake it till you make it. It's going to be hard for the first while, but it does get easier. Next, we're going to talk about what will happen when you start to confidently ask for what you want. Or not even confidently, but if you just start asking for what you want from people. In terms of like the coffee shop or whatever, not too much is going to change there, my friend. But in terms of friendships, relationships, family members, some of them might not fuck with that. And if they don't respect that, then those aren't the people that you want in your life. TBH. Even family. Like, family does not mean, just because they're blood does not mean that you have to have a relationship with them. There are plenty of, I have family members that I keep a very big distance to because I don't, like, they don't respect my boundaries. They haven't respected my boundaries. And, like, that's a problem. So I created a boundary. And things like with men, on my Hinge profile, I have to, like, I don't know what the prompt is, but it basically says, like, ask me on a proper date. Don't ask me to hang out. Don't ask me, like, no, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to come over. I want you to ask me on a date because it shows intention and it shows thought. And that means I get a lot fewer matches. I mean, people will still match with me, but then they'll still fucking ask me to hang out. And I'm like, literally read. And so I've started saying, courtesy of my friend Eliza, when they say, do you want to get together sometime, with that like kind of ambiguous text, which I feel like is intentional. I was like, get together or go on a date. And the real men step up and the other ones don't answer. And that's fine with me. Like, there's, that cuts the dating pool into fucking half, but I don't care because then I'm having way more higher quality matches, or, conversations with people that whose intention is actually to date, versus having a bunch of validation and a bunch of matches but no one who's really invested in me. I had a job where I very respectfully, very very respectfully asked for 5 grand more than what they were offering me, which was still in the range of what they were offering for the position. And they terminated my offer. Like they were like, yeah, we'll think about it, and then just terminated my offer. And I was like, I'm so glad that I confidently asked for what I want, because that company is like, they suck. Like, to do that to somebody, like, that's so, I was completely in line. I don't think anybody really doesn't ask for more money. I was super respectful about it. I was like, like, this is more in line with what I was thinking. Can you guys think about it and get back to me? And they were like, yeah. And then they just terminated it. Like, I'm so glad that I asked, because it saved me from probably what would have been an awful job experience or career experience. Friends, family, relationships, jobs, they might be far and fewer between, but you will find higher quality people in your life. And those people are not going to be bothered when you do ask for what you want, because they are probably of the same caliber. They are willing to ask for things as well. And they expect you to ask for what you want. I don't know. The people I have in my life, they know I'm a grandma. I'm not going out past 9 p.m. on a weeknight. Like, and they respect that, and they don't push me, and they don't judge me, and they don't stop befriending me because I don't want to go out. And those same friends, they know that, I don't know, they know that things are tight right now financially, and, like, they're not going to, they're, I ask them, can we, do something more affordable this weekend instead of going out and spending hundreds of dollars on alcohol and bars, because I can't right now. And they're totally down to do that, and they respect me, and they're obviously, they can go if they want, but they're not like pressuring me or anything to go if I can't. I've pretty much covered all the bases here. So let's recap, babies. Start with your current life situation. Where can you start setting some boundaries and asking for what you want with your current friends, family, everyday interactions that will eventually lead to you being able to ask for those things in real time? So, yeah, that will eventually lead to you asking for things in real time instead of having to like go back on something. Um, or like over like with overcommitting yourself. Or like if you're somebody who hates to say no to plans but then cancels later, just say no because that's going to be eating you up. You're like, oh my God, like I know I'm going to cancel on this person. I hope they don't hate me, blah, 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 blah. Like, just be like, I'm honestly sorry. I'm not down for that. I don't really want to do that, but I'd love to do this some other time. Like, I'm just not really into that, or I'm really tired, or like, I just don't want to do that. It's okay. Okay. So start with your current life situation. Then you'll be able to actively do it in real time. Practice, minimize filler words, eye contact, record yourself, journal worst case, best case, middle case scenarios, and really rationalize if you have super bad anxiety about a given situation, like really rationalize it and recognize it's not going to be as bad as you think. And even if the bad thing happens, most of the time it's still whatever. Recognize that confidence comes from trusting yourself and advocating for yourself on a consistent basis. Don't do the things that are overextending yourself. Don't let your family and your friends and relationships and boys and girls walk all over you. Don't let the barista, don't like, I keep ragging on baristas. Like, baristas know that mistakes happen. They'll be fine. They'll be like, okay, like, I'm sorry. I'll remake that for you. It's fine. Or no, recognize that confidence comes from trusting yourself. Keep doing these things to build trust within yourself. That's it's so important not just to be able to confidently ask for what you want, but for everything in your life to be able to trust yourself and know that you have your back. That is freaking priceless. Okay? Be prepared to probably let go or have different relationships with some people because not everybody respects your boundaries or understands them. And it's okay. And it might just be a temporary thing. It might be permanent. You might permanently lose some people in your life. But I digress. I think it's better to be able to advocate for yourself than have the shitty people still. I'd rather have two friends that understand and want me to ask for the things that I want versus 10 friends who consistently walk over me. And lastly, fake it till you make it. It's going to take a hot minute. It's going to take a hot minute for you to actually feel the energy behind the confident words that you might use for this. But eventually you will feel them and it'll feel really good. And it feels really good to just not have the anxiety of overthinking all the things that you're like letting happen or that people are allowing to happen. So yeah, start taking control for yourself, man. Um, Build that confidence and trust within yourself. It is so important for pretty much everything that you do in life. And I hope you found this episode useful. Maybe a little kick in the butt. Maybe you know that people have been walking over all over you, and now you're like, you know what? No, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, this has been a big sister sesh with yours truly, Kayla Gonzell. I hope you have a beautiful day. That's it. Bye.